aboard Pink Monorail. I'm your pilot, Michelle Valladolid, and next to me is my co-pilot, Noe Valladolid.
Hey everybody.
Last time, we talked about how Disney went to the World's Fair. This time, we're going to talk about Busch Gardens, which started as a beer garden in 1906, as an animal-themed park in 1959, in Van Nuys in 1966, and in 1975 in Williamsburg, Virginia. Also Houston, but that was so brief, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Adolphus Busch was the co-founder of Anheuser-Busch. He had a winter home in Pasadena, California, and he opened his expansive gardens to the public in 1906. They remained open to the public until 1937, when the land was subdivided and became housing. Some landscape fixtures from the gardens remain. The site is about 38 acres and it's west of Orange Boulevard in Pasadena. There was a millionaire's row of mansions, and Busch called his Ivy Hall because of the ivy that grew over it. The Wrigley House was there, like Wrigley chewing gum, and the Gamble House remains, Procter & Gamble.
Mm-hmm.
And that was from Back to the Future.
That really is a millionaire's row.
Really was. There were upper and lower gardens, aviaries, and water features. At its peak, the gardens employed 40 full-time gardeners. The gardens were designed by Robert Gordon Fraser, who lived there until it closed. Admission to the lower garden cost 35 cents, and some fencing remains in the neighborhood on the corner of Busch Gardens and Arroyo Streets. 2 of the 7 concrete log water fountains remain, one at Grant's Farm in St. Louis, and one at the end of a driveway of a private Pasadena residence. The lower garden's mystic hut is now gone, but the foundation and surrounding pools remain. The Grecian pergola was enclosed and became a private home. The icon of the park was the Upper Garden's old mill. It still stands as part of a private residence. Robert Niles wrote about all this in Theme Park Insider. Really great website. Fast forward to 1957, Anheuser-Busch, led by August Busch Jr., looked at Jacksonville and Tampa as sites to open an East Coast brewery and settled on Tampa. Anheuser-Busch had spent a year denying that they were building in Tampa, but on July 25, 1957, they announced that they had purchased a 160-acre plot of land in Tampa for $320,000 to construct a $20 million brewery. Schlitz, a competitor, was also building in Tampa. August Busch Jr. stated that the company wanted gardens around the brewery to attract people. We looked at this concept with the trolley parks earlier.
Mm-hmm. I remember the employees kept the trolley lines open when they were going to the factories, and then they really didn't have anything else to do. So they started building parks and things for the employees to enjoy on the weekends.
Exactly. Groundbreaking took place in March 1958, and the brewery and gardens opened on March 31st. Though beer production had started March 12th. Formal introduction of the brewery and gardens took place in May. Tours of the public gardens started June 1st, 1959, with free admission. 250 people attended the opening ceremony, and around 1,000 attendees toured the gardens that first day. Busch Gardens was a 15-acre attraction southwest of the brewery, and it cost $500,000. The gardens featured lagoons and plants with around 36,000 flowering plants and 300 trees. Animal shows included a bird show in a 200-person amphitheater, a bird sanctuary featuring flamingos, and a separate animal area called Devil's Island with cages of eagles and cockatoos. There was a dwarf village inspired by Hansel and Gretel. It is featured on a 1966 postcard at eBay, if you want to see what it looked like. There was also the Hospitality House designed by William B. Harvard, where guests could get free samples of beer.
Oh boy, that must have been the most popular attraction there.
What's funny is they also had it at SeaWorld.
Mm-hmm. The sample house.
The sample house. So Jeff and Jim would send me in when I was 8 months pregnant.
Oh no.
And they had to give me the beer. And they were like, here you go. And I'd take it out and give it to Jeff and Jim.
Oh, you mean the employees? They felt bad that you were asking for the beer samples?
Yes.
But you were actually just taking it out to Jeff and Jim?
Yeah.
The employees were like, you're killing the baby, lady. Please stop. We do not endorse pregnant people drinking or smoking under any circumstance.
No.
And
No.
thankfully, Shelly did not, so the baby's nice and healthy.
My friend Cindy Scott did send me in to get a carton of cigarettes and a
Oh, no.
and a 6-pack of beer at a gas station when I was about 7 months pregnant.
Oh, my gosh.
They had no problem selling to me in Florida.
Oh, boy. So tell us about this delicious sample mill.
Another 118 acres was used for housing the famous Budweiser Clydesdales.
Oh, all right. This was in the late 50s?
Yeah.
Wowee.
Plans were made to include buffalo, ostriches, and zebras in the stables.
Wow.
These original gardens were later called the Bird Gardens. In July 1959, after only 4 months of operation, Anheuser-Busch announced a $5 million expansion for the park due to its great success. In February 1960, construction started on a geodesic dome. It cost $75,000 and opened March 22nd. The Adolphus Busch space frame was made of gold aluminum and was 22.5 feet high and 90 feet in diameter. The dome featured landscaping, suspended bird nests, and ponds that connected to an outside lagoon. Next came the Stairway to the Stars, an escalator to an observation deck on the roof of the brewery. A pool of penguins was originally at the bottom of the escalator. In May 1962, Anheuser-Busch bought more land and began a $3.5 to $4 million expansion, depending on who you talk to, announcing plans for an African veldt and American plains. I'm sure the buffalo would be happier there than in the stables.
That's for sure.
Plans also included a railway and more themed habitats. In October, Anheuser-Busch expanded its animal collection to about 1,000 birds. A monorail was announced in January 1963 to travel over the African veldt. A 4-story Swiss restaurant opened in December. They purchased more land in April 1964. In October, they debuted a trackless transportation train to take people from the parking lot to the old Swiss house.
So this trackless transportation train, was this a monorail or was this?
No, it was completely trackless. I believe it was
like a diesel land train that took guests places.
There were no tracks.
No, that's what I'm saying. It would be like a diesel transport, sort of like the ones that take people from the parking lot to the front gates at Disneyland.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now, before you continue, Shelly, I think we're going to pause for a moment so you can listen to a word from our sponsors. And we're back.
The Wild Animal Kingdom opened in 1965, not to be confused with Disney's Animal Kingdom, as well as a clock tower by the old Swiss house. The African veldt contained cheetahs, chimpanzees, elephants, gorillas, lions, and rhinos in a realistic habitats. Anheuser-Busch bought more land in November. Busch Gardens started charging for parking. The monorail opened and was a $1 upcharge for adults, 40 cents for children. A snack bar opened in the parking lot. In 1969, as a result of Walt Disney World being built in nearby Orlando, Anheuser-Busch announced a new area, BOMA, at the cost of $1 million. August Busch, Jr. had toured the Walt Disney World site and knew it would be stiff competition. In June 1970, BOMA opened, and at the preview event for press, Anheuser-Busch announced a $12.6 million expansion for the coming decade, including a 1,000-seat amphitheater, a treetop viewing area of the African veldt, a locomotive train, and a log flume. Free admission would come to an end, and parking would be free again. General admission was charged starting July 31st, $1.25 for adults, 50 cents for children. The park's main entrance was relocated. The Transveldt Railway opened on July 4th between the monorail and BOMA section. There was an upcharge. From Nairobi Station to Stanleyville Station is where it went. In January 1972, the $250,000 Treetops viewing station opened. It was so cool.
It's not there anymore.
No. The amphitheater had an elephant show. There were gorilla and okapi, my favorite, enclosures, and shops. Lots of shops. A boat ride opened in the African Village, which is Stanleyville. Next, in March 1973, Anheuser-Busch announced Phase 2, Morocco-themed area, log flume, dark ride, gondola lift, animal training center, and a safari attraction. Anheuser-Busch opened a camper van park nearby. The African Village was renamed Stanleyville. The Sky Ride linked the monorail, Treetops Outlook, and Stanleyville Station together. On April 16, 1975, Morocco opened, new entrance to the park. In September, the park announced a $7.6 million expansion and first roller coaster, new exhibits for tigers and elephants, landscaping, and a park-wide sound system. In 1976, they took the name the Dark Continent to differentiate from other gardens nearby, which was kind of silly, I thought. The African Veldt became Serengeti Plain, Boma became Nairobi, and the Moroccan village was called Marrakesh. Congo, featuring the Python roller coaster, premiered on July 1, 1976. Some off-the-shelf rides were also introduced. In 1978, Anheuser-Busch bought more land, bringing the total to 350 acres or thereabouts. In February 1979, the park unveiled an $18.5 million expansion, Timbuktu, and a water park, Adventure Island. In 1980, Busch Entertainment Corporation was separated from Busch Beer Corporation to differentiate between parks and beer.
Okay, so that's why there's, when people think of the Busch Gardens, the Busch Parks, they don't think of the beer as much, even though it's the name of the of the factory or the brewery.
That's right. Treetops closed for a new train station in Congo. Timbuktu officially opened January 1980. Timbuktu featured a carousel, a Trabant, it's a wipeout carnival ride, the one that spins while it spins.
Oh, the teacups on the teacup, or the turntable on the turntable.
The turntable on the turntable, but with the long rectangular.
Right.
Dolphin Show in the Dolphin Theater. Other off-the-shelf rides. The Fest House Restaurant with a dance show, game booths, and specialty shops. Scorpion Coaster opened May 16th. May 26, 1982, there's a $6 million River Rapids ride, Congo River Rapids. It was an Intamin ride, 1,380 feet long. In 1983, children's area was freshened up with Dwarf Village, if you recall. Mm-hmm. They went back from Dark Continent to Busch Gardens. I always called it Busch Gardens.
Yeah, I don't remember a time when it was called Dark Continent.
Looping Coaster Phoenix was added June 5th, 1984. In October 1987, they got pandas.
Oh boy, that was a big cultural exchange with China, because not any zoo can get those.
That's right. It lasted 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
The Campervan Park closed in 1990. The old Swiss house reopened as Crown Colony House. They jumped on the motion simulator bandwagon with Questor, which opened May 23rd, 1991.
Oh boy, I've seen video of Questor.
Have you? Quest for the Jewel.
All you listeners out there, if you want to see something, look up this ride. And thankfully there are people that have recorded a number of these lost attractions. I don't want to give anything away. Just watch it and you will be, let's just say, spellbound.
Spellbound. Boma was replaced by Miombe Reserve. And in 1993, Kumba opened. I love Kumba. The Bollinger and Mabey Yard, 143 feet high, 3,970 feet track length, goes 60 miles per hour.
That's pretty fast.
April 21st, 1993. It's my favorite over there.
One of the fastest coasters of the time.
Oh yeah. 1994, Land of the Dragons replaced Dwarf Village. Alice loves Land of the Dragons.
Oh.
It has been replaced by Sesame Street, but she has fond memories.
Well, that's good.
On October 25th, Anheuser-Busch announced that it was closing the brewery and giving its acreage to the park. It closed in December and was later demolished. They gave 17 acres over to the park. Animal Kingdom opened, this time the Disney one. Busch Gardens opened an upcharge ride-through safari. In 1996, May 16th, Egypt opens. Montu, also a Bollinger and Mabey coaster. At the time, it was the longest and tallest inverted coaster.
Ooh.
Busch Gardens entered a theme park partnership with SeaWorld Orlando, Universal Studios Florida, and Wet n Wild Orlando to compete with Disney. Edge of Africa opened July 4th, 1997. Crocodiles, hippos, hyenas, lions, meerkats, and vultures. Lori Landy Aviary and a new simulator ride replaced Questor.
Oh.
Busch Gardens purchased 108 acres north of San Antonio, Florida, the city of San Antonio, Florida, for an animal retirement facility.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, isn't that nice? The monorail closed May 13th, 1999, and was demolished the same day. Gwazi, a dueling wooden coaster, opened on the site of the old brewery. They began Spooky Safari, a family-friendly Halloween event, in October 1999. In 2000, Anheuser-Busch put out a fun card for its Busch Gardens and SeaWorld parks, and that's where you can get in all summer, but you'll just have to pay for parking.
Oh, okay.
Rhino Rally, a Land Rover ride through the rhino habitat, debuted. They had an add-on tour in a truck that you paid a little extra. You could go through the rhino exhibit in a truck.
Oh, get the full safari experience.
Yeah. Hella Scream debuted the year before in Williamsburg and was very successful, so they brought it to Tampa that year. Rhino Rally opened May 23rd, 2001. September 11th closed the park, but it opened the next day, and they were the first in Florida to offer free adult ticket, or a free ticket, if it rained.
Oh, especially for people that were tourists and they didn't have a lot of time there, and if it was rained, it pretty much ruined their vacation. Unless they got a free ticket.
Right.
Well, that's nice.
They could come back the next day and it'll rain on them too. Rains every day in Florida, just about. August Busch III took more of an interest in the parks. He moved a Wild Mouse coaster, Wild Mouse, M-A-U-S, from Williamsburg to Tampa and renamed it Cheetah Chase. On May 20th, 2005, SheiKra, S-H-E-I-K-R-A, was the first dive coaster in the USA. The bird show ended in 2007 after 48 years. SheiKra closed temporarily and opened with floorless trains.
Ooh, scary.
Jungala was April 5th, 2008. Animal environments and was aimed at tweens.
Okay. They took their picture while they were on the ride and shared it on social media?
I don't know. InBev, an outside company, attempted to take over Anheuser-Busch, but they came to a friendly agreement and became part of the same company.
Oh, okay. So it went from hostile takeover to partnership?
To friendly agreement. They ceased free beer samples in 2009.
Boo.
They had the 50th anniversary, and they had a museum of artifacts, some donated by parkgoers. Busch Gardens was sold to Blackstone Group on October 7th. The Clydesdales and Anheuser-Busch were removed from the park. All references to the beer and to the Clydesdales and etc. were taken out.
Okay.
But the Busch Gardens name stayed. Sesame Street Safari of Fun opened March 27th, 2010, replacing the dragons in the kids area. It's 2.5 acres. They had a walk-through kangaroo encounter and cheetah hunt. They have one at Safari Park. They make the thing go.
Right, like a rabbit on a string.
Right, and the cheetah chases it, and they time how fast it goes.
It goes pretty fast.
Intamin launched roller coaster, and Cheetah Hunt is the coaster, and Cheetah Run was the make it run thing.
The animal attraction.
Opens May 27th, 2011. The Animal Care Center opened January 23rd, 2012, and they put $5 million into Nairobi. They had the Christmas Town event November and December of that year, and Falcon's Fury Drop Tower in Pantopia, formerly Timbuktu, debuted September 2nd. Rhino Rally and Gwazi closed in 2015. They introduced a food and wine festival. Cobra's Curse, a spinning coaster, opened June 17, 2016. Free beer samples returned.
Hooray!
May 2018. And Iron Gwazi, which was, remember Gwazi was built over the site of the old brewery, and there's a wooden coaster. Iron Gwazi was an iron coaster built over the wooden coaster.
I'm surprised the wooden coaster survived in the humidity of Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess they treated the wood for that. So it was sort of like the Colossus here in California, where they just put the steel giant over the wooden frame.
Exactly.
Okay.
Phoenix Rising replaced the Wild Mouse in July 21st, 2024, and that was the 10th coaster. And that's all the information I have about that park.
Not bad. So that was the original Busch Garden Park in Florida.
Right.
Which had an entire African continent built way before Disney got into it.
Absolutely.
Wowee. It's got the climate for it.
Anheuser-Busch opened a brewery in Van Nuys, California in 1954. So we'll go back a couple years before Busch Gardens Tampa opened. So we'll go back a few years before Busch Gardens Tampa opened.
Okay.
In 1966, they opened a Busch Gardens park adjoining the brewery. It included boat rides, not one but two monorails, one through the brewery, another through an aviary, and expanded in 1972 to include, quote, a barrel flume ride, which is like a log ride, a huge walk-through flight cage, a magic show, a special showplace for otters, penguin and sea lion programs, and an individual boat ride popular with young skippers. And that came from Wikipedia.
Okay.
And the individual boat ride was like the motorboat cruise, where you get in your own boat and you skipper it. It was renamed Busch Bird Sanctuary in 1977 and closed in 1979. We begged our parents to take us, but we went once a year to Disneyland, once a year to the San Diego Zoo, and every 2 to 3 years to SeaWorld, and that was that. My maternal grandma took us to Knott's. The site of the theme park is now a Bud Light facility. A footbridge marks the place where the 1972 expansion took place. Busch Gardens Houston, told you we'd get there, had an Asian theme except for a climate-controlled ice cave that housed polar bears, penguins, and sea lions. Wikipedia says it also had its own 2-foot narrow-gauge railway. I talked to Roger Colton about this. He was able to dig up some more information. It was called the Orient Express, and it now resides in Utah.
Were there any murders on it?
No murders that I know of. The other currently operating Busch Gardens park is Busch Gardens Williamsburg, also known as Busch Gardens Europe from 2006 to 2008, and Busch Gardens the Old Country from 1975 to 1992. It is 422 acres and is in James County, Virginia, near Williamsburg. It is presently celebrating its 50th anniversary, having opened May 16, 1975, as Busch Gardens the Old Country. Its slogan is, "Celebrate, connect, and care for the natural world through the power of entertainment." It is open year-round. It opened next to the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, and perhaps a key to its success, the Kings Mill Resort, featuring the historic Kings Mill Plantation, Revolutionary War battlegrounds, Civil War historic strategic places, Colonial Williamsburg, historic buildings reconstructed in the 1930s backed by the Rockefeller family, and Kings Mill Resort, a 1970s vacation, conference, and golf resort. In 1993, the park was renamed Busch Gardens Williamsburg, then 2006 to 2008 Busch Gardens Europe, then back to Busch Gardens Williamsburg, which it is called today. It ranks about 20th in theme park attendance among parks in North America.
Now, Shelly, before we continue, we're going to pause for a moment and listen to some more words from our sponsors. As always, we'd appreciate it if you support the people that support us. And we're back.
In the 1970s, Anheuser-Busch developed a brewery, the Kings Mill Resort, residential and office properties, and of course, Busch Gardens the Old Country. The vast investment in the area was the result of negotiations between August Gussie Busch and Winthrop Rockefeller, who was at the time the governor of Arkansas and also the chairman of Colonial Williamsburg. Are you going to argue with a Rockefeller?
Nah, they're powerful peoples.
Water Country USA, the local water park, was bought by Anheuser-Busch as well. The sale also included the SeaWorld parks, which we'll get to later. This time, we learned about the Busch Gardens parks. Next time, we'll learn about Disneyland in 1967. A really groovy time.
Yeah, absolutely, especially following on the heels of the World's Fair.
We'll see.
Well, that was great, Shelly. So if listeners want to support you in this podcast, where can they go?
They can go to patreon.com/fab, F-A-B.
And if the listeners want to find out more of your history articles and your reviews, where can they read?
At micechat.com, the happiest place in cyberspace.
Now, if you want to find out more about video games, which is what I usually write about, but I do cover a lot of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, you can find me on the Street Writer podcast. So just do a Google search, I should be the first result. So that does it for this episode of the Pink Monorail podcast, Manufacturing the Magic, the history of the American theme park, and we look forward to seeing you take another trip around the country in the next episode. A special thank you to our sponsor, Circa 1955. Luxillume is a small business created by our friend Nicole. She makes fragrance oils, sprays, and non-GMO pure soy wax candles with no additives or fillers. Every run is made in small batches, ensuring the best quality possible. She also does custom orders for special events such as graduations, birthdays, and weddings. Nicole is also a huge Disney fan. She has a line called Circa 1955, which celebrates Disney theme parks, movies, and animated features. If you are looking for the perfect gift to surprise a fellow Disney fan, then be sure to visit luxillume.com. If you enter the code PINK15 at checkout, that's PINK15, then you'll get 15% off your first order. Be sure to support a small business that also gives back to the community. The Pink Monorail podcast is part of the Jim Hill Podcast Network. This includes the Epic Universal Podcast, The Disney Dish, Fine Tuning, Marvel Us Disney, and I Want That Too. Be sure to listen, like, and subscribe to the entire catalog. You're going to love it.